It's never a good day to have to announce your greatest failure, and I'm about to do so right now. I am in love with a gacha game, and that game is Magic the Gathering. Hello everybody, my name is Snackies, and yes, you heard correctly, I play Magic the Gathering. Every single shower I avoid is another game I get closer to winning. I don't win much, but I get close. And yes, I called Magic the Gathering a gacha game, because essentially that is what it is. And recent events kind of validate those claims. But we'll talk about that later. Right now, I want to go ahead and talk about why I think Magic the Gathering is a gacha game. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and explain what a gacha game actually is. Now, we're going to keep it in a video game sense because most of the really big gacha games are video games for the most part. And to boil it down, a gacha game is basically just a video game that lets you spend in-game currency in order to get cool items, neat shit, or should we say the possibility to get cool items or neat shit. Think about it like this. You know those gumball machines filled with little toys and capsules next to the doors inside of, like, I don't know, your local supermarket? Well, those are basically the raw physical form of gachas. You can put your quarter in, you can spin the crank, and out comes something that you might have thought was neat, or you may think is pretty goddamn lame. I remember there's these little capsule ninjas that you can get at like the Smiths or the Krogers, depending on where you are in America, and I always wanted the green one, because I always wanted the green ninja. I always got the blue and pink ninjas every single time, and I probably wasted about, I don't know, $1.50 on all that sort of shit. Not a whole lot of money, but you get my point. You have a chance to get something that you actually want. That, essentially, is what a gacha game is. Little side note, those types of machines out in Japan are called gachapons, which is where we get the name gachas. Gacha games. Gachapon, gacha game, gacha fucking money, bitch. Now, how does Magic the Gathering and gacha games fit in the same circle? Well, relatively easily when you think about it. Now, when you go ahead and think about life, the game that is life, our existence, and Magic the Gathering being a physical form of something that we can actually interact with, you can then thus think about your money as the in-game currency. You go ahead and spend that money on some card packs and you win about 15 cards. 15 of those cards are playable cards, one of them's a token, and the other one of them has a chance of being a decent card or a really decent card. Now, obviously, we always want the really decent card because those are the really ball-busting, game-winning fucking cards. That being said, it doesn't always work out like that, which in my opinion sounds like a gacha game. I mean, the only difference there is that Magic the Gathering has a lot more value going on with it. Instead of you just paying for some pixels on a screen, you're paying for an actual physical piece of cardboard. And sometimes it has a little bit of rainbow foil on it. But if you're someone that would say, well, Snackies, this isn't really news. So what if it's a gacha game? I still have fun with it, and I'm going to keep playing it. And you should, and I will as well. The only thing I would like to mention there is that gachas are one little twinge away from becoming really, really shitty things. For instance, the people that run them typically do not have your best interests in mind. It's usually just for the money, fat money pits, and we, the customers, will go ahead and toss that money at them because we're little gambling addicted fiends. And I'm not trying to go ahead and argue whether or not it's gambling or whether it's not gambling. It is gambling. At the end of the day, in its raw basic form, RNG-based shit is just gambling. You gamble in D&D, you gamble in Magic the Gathering, you gamble in gachas, you gamble at a fucking slot machine. It's the same basic principle. You put money in, you try getting something out of it, and you either get it or you don't get it. That's gambling. And it's invigorating, and it's addicting, and it's predatory. And recent events with the Magic 30th celebration dictates that Wizards of the Coast is on that predatory side now, which is disheartening. Now, about a month ago, a YouTube channel by the name of Tolarian Community College already made a video on this entire subject. I'd recommend you go watch his video because I'm going to give you the most basic muddled down form of what the fuck's going on. To summarize, Wizards of the Coast made a big hoopla about Magic the Gathering's 30th year anniversary, and to celebrate they released 4 card packs. In each pack was 15 cards of classic artwork and a little 30th year anniversary stamp on them, and you also had the chance to win a Black Lotus. The only downsides is that they're not tournament legal and they cost $1,000. So when you go ahead and think about it, it's a pretty goddamn stupid idea, considering you're going to be going ahead and paying $1,000 for 60 cards, all of which cannot be used inside of a serious format. And the sad but unsurprising part about all of this is that it sold the fuck out the moment it dropped. 30 minutes later, they were all out, at least according to them. There's some skepticism as to whether or not they actually sold out. But I believe that they actually did sell out because there's a lot of stupid, pretentious assholes out there that will rather go ahead and spend $1,000 on some cards that would be just better off printed out so they could call the people that printed out those cards poor. That's the only value I see in these cards, is that you get to call somebody poor. But to dial it back a little bit on a more serious note, it shows that Wizards of the Coast is willing to take a big fat 30-year steaming pile of shit on their player base, just for some extra dough, which is an ever-growing trend inside the gaming community, be it video games, and now, card games, which at the end of the day is what this video is all about. It's not about gacha games, it's not about Magic the Gathering being a gacha game. It's about the companies behind them, and the philosophical stance that they take to only benefit the shareholder, fuck the customer, and definitely fuck the product. It's in more than just video games, it's in more than just Wizards of the Coast, but things like the automotive industry, where you now have to pay a subscription to go faster in your car. You know, there used to be a time in my day where you could go ahead and get what you paid for. Nowadays, what you actually want is probably going to be locked behind a booster pack. That's it. Bye-bye.